How's Michael Smith feeling?
I think he's doing good. I think he feels good. Everything that you see, and I think he's doing real good.
Paul, you guys have lit it up passing. Do you feel like you got to balance it out a little bit more?
Yeah, we feel like we have to balance it out some. And we threw the ball real well the other night. We were making plays, and I think the third quarter was probably how we want to be. I think the third quarter, those drives, you felt like we were running it, throwing our quick game, throwing deep play action, being real balanced, and that's kind of how we want to be the whole game. If we can get like we played the third quarter, that'd be real good.
Coach, when it was 21-10, Tremaine got that interception. Had it not been for the penalties and stuff that had followed, would we have seen probably a lot of the running game? Y'all try to make that an emphasis on that drive?
Probably. You have a good chance. And the first play after that, if you remember, we hit Jerry's for about a 30-yard gain, and then we had a mystery. Better just go on to the next question. Before I got myself in trouble.
Now that you've had a chance to look at the offensive line, how'd they grade out? And then some of the things that Alabama possesses up front, especially Terrence Cody.
I think, the guys that played the best were Petrus and Love. I just like to be positive and talk about that. Those two played the best, graded out the highest. Alabama's strength is their defensive front. They got the big guy up in the middle that clogs things up. They bring nice pressure off the edge, and definitely the strength of their defense is their front seven. Between their D linemen and their linebackers, they got those two real good linebackers that make plays. So that's definitely something we got to make sure we take care of, and definitely got to make sure that we play real hard and good. And I think we also have some good matchups against them too.
Do you get the impression that this game is going to be another high-scoring game, or?
Well, I'm the offense coordinator. I hope every game is. I want to score a bunch of points in every game. So, we go into every game believing that we're going to score every time we get the ball, and we're getting closer to that. We're not there yet. They killed us the two times we settled for field goals. We got to go get touchdowns. But we're getting a lot closer to where we want to be. We're getting where I think the kids are believing when they step on the field they can score on anybody and on every drive, and we just got to get where we do. And once we do that, we'll win.
I mean, do you get the impression that you're going to have to score sometimes 40 points a game to win, or?
I don't ever look at it like that. I just look at it as, I coach on offense. When we have the ball, we want to go score. And during the game, to be honest, you don't even know what's going on when the defense is out there, because you're talking about what just happened in the last series. You're talking about, what you go through every single play of the last series. And to be honest, I don't ever even know what happened until my son tells me when I get home, usually.
Feel Lucas Miller be able to contribute this game?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he looked good out there at practice tonight. He's running around. He worked real hard. He wanted to be back for this game. That was his goal, and from everything that we see and that you see, I'd say yes, sure.
Bobby talked about a child in spring. He had pneumonia and overcame some stuff. How was he feeling in spring? Did you feel like he was?
Yeah, he had. I think everyone at some point when you're young goes through a period that's hard. Some guys go through it when they first get to camp. Some guys go through it the summer before camp. Some guys go through it the second semester. And the guys that can fight through those hard times are the ones that end up being real successful. And he had a hard time at one point in camp, in spring ball, but he fought through it. He stuck through it. I thought his parents were real strong and came down here and gave him a little hard love and made him fight through it. And definitely that's been a great lesson for all of us, because he's playing real well right now.
You mentioned Cody, their little guard. How has he changed this year? Is he more a factor than he was when you saw him last year?
He was a definite factor against Virginia Tech. Played real well against them. In the other two games, they weren't playing real good teams, and I don't know if he's as fired up, but I'm sure he will be in the first SEC game. He's a real good player. He's hard to move, and he does look like he's gotten a little bigger than last year, if you could do that. But he's a good football player, and we need to do a good job making sure we block him.
Obviously the receivers that you got from Warren are obviously doing well for you. What did you try to sell them on? Jarius and Greg. What did you try to kind of sell them on as far as coming to Arkansas?
Our offense. I think if we can ever get a receiver on campus that we're recruiting, and you can sit down and show tape of our offense, if you could go back for the last 18 years and show, and every year you can see a bunch of guys making play after play. And maybe last year, because we were young, started happening at the very end of the year, but other than that, there's a year that we've always put up huge numbers. And you can get a guy on campus and have him watch tape, you got a great chance to get a quarterback or receiver in this offense.
In regards to receivers, you talked about Lucas Salter, some of those guys. Bobby said after the game maybe he didn't do a good job of getting enough guys in there, keeping people fresh with Kobe Hamilton. Can you talk about the wide receiver rotation and how difficult it is to get everybody in?
Yeah, that was my fault. Those three guys were playing real well, and I didn't. I had a hard time taking them out of there, but I got to spell them a little bit more and keep them fresh. But we've never played a whole bunch of receivers. We've usually spelled them a little bit, and I got to just keep them a little bit more fresh and play Kobe more. Carlton had a good week of practice. I probably should have played him some. I didn't, and play Fish a little bit more, and then it'll help having Lucas. But those three top guys are still going to play the most plays and go make the most plays for us.
Do you expect Odin to play it all this week?
There's a great chance of it, yes.
Also, preparing for a road game, is it any different? Preparing for the atmosphere and the noise?
There is definitely. There's some things that are different. Making your checks, you got to make sure you get up to the line. You got to be loud with your cadence, and there's definitely some things for going on the road and playing that atmosphere that you got to get yourself ready for, and so that's something that we're definitely concentrating on.
Coach, you guys prepare. Go ahead.
How was today's practice?
I thought today's practice was. Thought they came out there with good fire, good hustle. It was probably our first Tuesday of how it's going to be the rest of the year. The other two games we had a long time to prepare for both of them, and that Tuesday's practice is when you put your whole, you start putting in the game plan. It's different. You're going against a new defense, so we had a few mistakes. Sometimes that happens on a Tuesday's practice, but I thought the energy and hustle and want to was there, and they did a good job of that. Now we got Wednesday and Thursday to clean up the game plan and make sure we do everything right.
Do you guys do anything different, like to prepare for the noise? I know some teams do a whisper count, some teams play music. Do y'all do anything to prepare for that?
Yeah, we do. Some of those things that we don't necessarily want to tell Alabama, though.
Okay.
But there are definitely some things that we do different than on the road than at home.
Also, Ronnie Wingo, do you expect to get him more involved too?
I think he had a good practice today. We got a lot more reps in practice today, and definitely he's another guy that's a playmaker that we need to, get him in there and have him help us make plays.
Obviously you guys had some struggles against Georgia with short yardage. What can you kind of do, or what do you want to do to kind of get that going a little bit more at the goal line?
It's just a matter of taking pride and coming off the ball and knocking people off the ball, and the running backs getting their pads down and getting it. I mean, it's not a great mystery. You just got to come off the ball lower and run your feet and block people and knock them off the ball, and the back's got to get his pads down and fall forward. And we just got to keep working on it and make sure we get it done.
Is there anything you've learned about Ryan, just having been through 2 games with him now, that maybe you don't know until you're actually, in games? His demeanor or leadership or?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Ryan's, and think a lot of him and expect a lot of him, and he's done a real good job being a leader. He has great confidence. I think as much as anything, he believes that he's one of the best players out on the field, and he carries himself that way and has that confidence, and that makes the other people around him feel the same way. And that's just something we got to keep working on. As a whole group, we need to play better in the fourth quarter. We had a couple, again, we can't sell field goals, and we had one drive where we got to go score. So I think that's something that the more you do it, they got to expect and know that in this league we're going to be in a fight every fourth quarter, and we got to go win it.